Welcome to Lead with Clarity. This is a space for leaders who want to grow without losing themselves in the process. Each episode is a short reflection on leadership, influence, and the inner work that shapes how we show up for others. Not hype, not noise, just clear thinking for the journey of leading well. Today's episode is entitled The Leader of the Future Asks How Before What. Here we go. Frances Hesselbein ran the Girl Scouts of the USA for 13 years, took an organization that was losing relevance, and rebuilt it into one that Peter Drucker himself called the best managed in the country. She had every reason to talk about management as the thing that mattered most. Instead, she said this: management is a tool, not an end. The leader of the future asks how before what. Let's sit with that for a moment, because it's easy to nod along and miss what she is actually saying. She is not dismissing management. She ran a large, complex organization extremely well. What she is doing is refusing to let the tool become the point. Here's the pattern I see in a lot of leaders, and I've been guilty of it myself. You inherit an organization, or you build one, and it comes with tools: an org chart, a budget process, a set of KPIs, a quarterly review cycle. These tools are genuinely useful. They create structure, they create accountability, they let a group of people move in roughly the same direction without constant intervention. But tools have a way of becoming invisible over time, and once they're invisible, they start setting the agenda instead of serving it. You stop asking what the KPI was meant to measure, and you start managing to the number. You stop asking what the review cycle was meant to surface, and start managing to the calendar. The tool that was supposed to serve the goal quietly becomes the goal. Hesselbein's answer to this is a simple ordering. Ask how before you ask what. Most leaders do the opposite instinctively. Something needs to happen, so you jump straight to the plan. Here's the initiative, here's the target, here's the timeline. What gets skipped is the harder question underneath it. How are we going to build this? Who gets a voice in the decision? What are we willing to sacrifice to hit this target? And are we actually willing to sacrifice that? Skip that question, and even a good plan can do quiet damage. I've watched leaders hit every number on a scorecard while burning out the team that hit them because nobody asked how before they asked what. The what looked like a success. The how was the actual story, and it had just not shown up in the numbers yet. This is not a new idea, and it does not depend on what era you are leading in. It applied to a factory manager in 1970, and it applies to a team lead running a fully remote org today. The tools change. The discipline underneath them does not. And if you happen to be leading in an AI-enabled environment right now, I think this framing matters even more, not less. The tools available to you are getting sharper by the month. A model can hand you a plan, a forecast, a recommended what, faster than any team of analysts could have done 5 years ago. What it cannot hand you is the how. It has no stake in who gets a voice, what gets sacrificed, or whether the plan is one your team can actually live inside. That is still yours to work out. And it's worth noticing that the easier it gets to generate a fast what, the more tempting it becomes to skip straight past the how. The leaders who hold on to that discipline are going to look increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. So here's something worth trying this week. Before you approve the next plan that crosses your desk, whether it's your own or someone else's, pause on the what for a second and ask the how question out loud. How is this actually going to get built? Who has a voice in that? What is this going to cost the people doing the work? And is that a fair trade for what we are chasing? You may find the plan does not change at all. Asking the question is still worth it because it puts the tool back in its place. It reminds everyone in the room, including you, that the org chart and the KPI and the process are there to serve something, and the something is not automatically served just because the tool got used correctly. Frances Hesselbein spent a career proving you can be an exceptional manager without ever losing sight of that distinction. The tool is not the end. It never was. That is worth carrying with you long after the plan on your desk today is finished.